unfortunately, I have not seen any of the female candidates in any of the media programs. The only female presidential candidate for the election is not known. This is true. Nigerians don't know who she is. Nigerians have not really heard what she proposes as program. I know we may say, okay, that she's coming from a small party, but if we look at Italy, the Prime Minister who is there today, she started from a small, minute party, and today, after so many years, she's now the head of government. So we don't need to minimize because she's coming from a small party. It starts like that. And also it gives visibility for women so that people begin to see that women have something to propose to this country. Let's hear what she has to say. I also know that our female candidate for governorship in Adamawa also just won her appeal. These are actually women that we actually have to let them be seen and let them be heard. So I'm sure that many of us here do not even know that there is a female presidential candidate. No, I don't believe like that. I believe that all of us here know that there is a candidate, but we have not really heard what she stands for, what she's proposing to Nigerians, what she thinks should be changed. We have not heard that. Ladies and gentlemen, as chief executives and senior editors and practitioners of the most influential media houses in TV, radio, and print in Nigeria, I appeal to you once again to harness the power of the media by using your respective media platforms to join this laudable project of supporting women through a positive coverage as we move towards campaigns for the 2023 general elections. I want to encourage ourselves to reaffirm our commitments to gender-sensitive reporting of electoral issues, including positive portrayal of women to the public. And you know, I just would also like to remind us, last time we talked about the importance of gender and women's empowerment to our development. So we are supporting these women, not just because they are women. We are supporting them because without the participation of women on the table, we will never have a sustainable development. We will never have peace. Peace will never come as long as women are not sitting on the table. We did a study where UNWomen, we did a study in some other countries to look at what are the roles that women play in conflict. And they play 3 roles. They can be actors themselves, women can be actors, women can be accomplices, and women can be victims. So let's not minimize the role that women can play. If we can play positively around these 3 roles that they play, then peace will be sustainable. That's why I say, if women are not involved, I tell you, we will not have sustainable development and we will never have a sustainable peace. So it is not because of the women that we are doing. We are doing it for our Nigeria that we love. Our great Nigeria, the biggest economy in Africa. The land of Amina Mohammed. The land of powerful women who are showing the world what this continent can produce. This is the land we're talking about. So I would like us to not just say, what are women? No. Let's look at it. It is our development. It's the development of our country that we are looking for. I would like to express my deep appreciation to my dear sister here, the Executive Director of St. Eve Communication Women's Radio, the only women's radio in Nigeria. And her staff for all the efforts in organizing these meetings. UNWomen and Women Radio have already scheduled our next meeting for March 2023. A time we will all meet again to assess our support, progress, and challenges. Thank you all for coming. I'm believing that we will leave today with a more practical action plan that will follow. And I will be listening to you. Thank you.
Let's put hands together for the UNWomen representatives of Africa. And there you have it. Like a review of what we agreed on and the progress that has been made since we last met about 3 months ago. How have we fared? What access and to what extent have women, especially those that are seeking elected position, been given on TV, on radio, online, and in the print newspaper? And while we were passing the microphone for the introduction, there was a gentleman that was busy back there, and he's going to play a very key role here. You might just want to introduce yourself to.
Okay, thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, my name is Desmond Osemije, of course, Program Manager, UNWomen. And we'll be working together with Women Radio, trying to put these activities together. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. We move on to the next item here. And this gentleman will be talking to us. A trainer, a journalist, writer, publisher, someone that is one of us and plays so many roles. Media monitoring report on women for October 2022. How have we fared in the last 1 month, possibly in the last 2 months? Please join me in welcoming Mr. Larry Arobodade, or should I say Akowe Larry Arobodade of the International Press.
Oh my God. Thank you very much, Ambrose. So what I'm going to, okay, don't step out. All right. So what I'm going to present actually is what I call excerpts from the monitoring of print and online media reporting of the 2023, 2022, 2023 election. That's what we are targeting. So even though we are not yet in 2023, we call it, that's what we call it. And as you can see there, it's basically an analysis of trends in reportage of 2023 election issues by 15 print and online media. We are also monitoring INEC's social media and media platforms, Twitter, and the reason for that will soon be back. Now, what I've done is just to have a brief overview of what we're doing, and then take aspects of the monitoring reports that deal with issues of women, and of course, the other inclusive groups, youths and people living with disability. The idea really is for us to have a snapshot of what is happening. The entire report will soon be published, because we're also, it has to come with all the necessary analysis, recommendations, and so on. But I do have 1 or 2 recommendations that I will make. In general, this is what we're doing. We're monitoring, the coverage, professional coverage of political parties' activities, and some of the sub-issues we're doing there are those issues mentioned there: party primary, convention campaigns, and so on. Then we're looking at the professional coverage in terms of conflict sensitivity. As we know, one of the problems that we have, or some, include hate speech, misinformation, sensational headlines, and the rest of them. So we're looking at that. Then the third category is professional coverage related to inclusivity, and this is where we have an assessment of the coverage of issues of women, especially female politicians, candidates, and then youth and people living with disability. The fourth category is where we're looking at how we're covering the INEC and the state's independent electoral commissions. I'm going to talk on INEC in relation again to the issues of gender. The 15 online media that we're monitoring, they are mentioned in these summary, and we're dealing here with October 2022 alone. November is almost ready, and very soon we are going to aggregate all those reports. So those are the newspapers, Vanguard, Punch, and so on. For the period of October that we're dealing with, we have 2,180 news and editorial items that were relevant in 10 national newspapers. And then we have some statistics of the newspapers that publish the highest number of stories. That is in general. We're looking at election and political stories. And the details are contained there. Can we move on? So that's it and so on. And then we're looking at prominence of reports. I want to say a little bit on this because, like I said, we are putting these reports together and the analysis will come out. One of the things we will be doing subsequently, and that is in relation to issues of women, we want to look at, so normally when we talk about prominence, we look at, our assumption is that stories that are used on front page are prominent, or that are used as headline stories in online media. Now, subsequently, what we'll be doing is that we're going to now be disaggregating the data further. We want to look at the prominence of issues of women, in which case, in our analysis, we're going to be looking at, we're talking of front page, what is the consistency of use of issues, stories of women, and even their photographs on front pages or as headline reports. So that's it. And then all the items that we monitor, this were the formats. We looked at news, we looked at interviews, features, we looked at photographs, editorials, and cartoons, and even vox pop. And for the online media, we also looked at news, features, photo news, interviews, videos, cartoons, vox pop, and so on and so forth. Now, this is part of the crux of the matter. So let's look at sources of reports in this excerpt. So in the print media that we monitored, all those stories that were used, they used 1,401 sources. But the most used sources were male politicians, which was, about, that is the percentage that were used out of this 1,401, 471,000. Then male candidates. So we have male politicians who are just politicians who are not candidates, and then male candidates, and then political parties. Others were INEC, ethnic groups, faith-based groups, and youths. The least cited sources were female politicians in just 25 stories out of, and that is just 1.8%. Then women, as in general, who are not politicians, 17%, and then female candidates, 12%, and then people living with disability. So in the online media, it's similar in the sense that most used sources were male politicians, male candidates, and so on, and you can look at female politicians there and others, then female candidates. So if they are not being used as sources of stories, then it then translates to the fact that we're not giving enough attention to their issues. And of course, there will be reasons for this. We've just had some training for female journalists alone, where one of the topics we treated was gender reporting. And what came out was the whole question of, well, there are challenges, the women are not available even when they are candidates, we're looking for them, and all those things. And this is coming from female journalists, which is quite significant. So there could be reasons, but this is the picture that is imagined. And then the table there, breaks it down. And for some of us whose media are being monitored here as media executives, I hope this will kind of prick our conscience. Daily Independence, you can see there, so in terms of codes, where you have WO is where you have women. So for Daily Independence, out of 217 sources, 1 woman was used. Daily Sun, 4. Daily Trust, Leadership 4, go ahead, Nigerian Tribune, nothing. The Guardian 2, The Nation 4, The Punch, none. Vanguard 1, even Vanguard, my own Vanguard, can you imagine? I don't know how that. Then look at, yes, well, because I used to be assistant editor, a member of editorial board of Vanguard, and I know that Vanguard is strong on women issues. Yeah. So even if Vanguard is doing this, then it used to be what we need. Then look at online media too. Premium Times. I think I saw Alan, where is he? Okay, good. You are guilty as charged. Look at what is happening. Real news, cable one, zero and so on. So they were looking at inclusivity reporting now in general. So we like we said, we monitored 2,180 stories, and then we looked at the ones related to women, youth, people living with disabilities, which featured in just 78 stories, all together. And then we can also see, the breakdown that consistently women issues are not being as reported as we desire, especially when we're having these political period. For online media, we're just talking about 3%, and so on and so forth. Can we go on? So I thought I should bring this to the attention of our dear media executives here, that we're in monitoring the INEC Twitter handle. We're also looking at issues that are engaging the attention of INEC, things that they are tweeting about, or we monitor their Twitter handle and the rest of them. So, well, it's understandable, most tweets were civic and voter education, election security, election conduct. But even in the conversations on INEC's Twitter handle, you could see that issues of women also not featuring prominently in the conversation. So it also sends some signal, because we have female candidates contesting these elections, like the UNWomen said. We even have a governorship candidate. So you look at it and it's not even trending there. I deliberately said this because it will also be good for us as media executives to know that part of our responsibility in election reporting is to follow what is going on INEC's social media platform. And so when you also look at how INEC is sourcing its tweets, you see that in most cases it's not really about women issues coming up. Can you scroll up a bit really on that one? Exactly. So, and then you see that tweets relating to women, we just have 2 tweets at this period, which we think does not really reflect the fact that women are active participants in the political process. So I have these few observations on this, and so in many cases, of course, from those statistics, reports on women were quite scanty, when we're even looking at stories from inclusive groups. So even when you now exclude and say, okay, we are dealing with inclusive groups alone, use people with ability and so on, women even score low. Then in some cases, women in some cases appeared in photographs. And even in those photographs, when you analyze them, they were used as men's campaign supporters. Sandwich the pictures with male politicians and candidates in campaigns. So where we have women, in photograph or prompt media, it has to be, men has to be, around them. I know that sometimes when we take photographs, we say, let's have, gender, whatever. But you see, when it comes to, female candidates, we feel that let's also see them as, who they are, and not necessarily sandwiched, between, male, politician. So, the Daily Trust, October 10, Daily Independent, where a woman politician was photographed with a presidential candidate on the front page, and where a woman was flagged. So where women appeared is because the men presidential candidates are appearing on the front pages. That's one thing that we observed. Then we also, it also struck us that even at a political event that were exclusively women, for example, the launch of the APC Women Presidential Campaign, team, you could see that they were inside, page, stories, and even in our analysis, we didn't feel that women were given, enough, voices. So you see, women are launching their campaign team, but it is the men speaking there that were really, reporting. In some cases where women voices were heard quite loud, in the media reports that we monitored, like in Daily Trust of October 2027, it was where women were used as protesters. So where women are protesting, they are carrying placards, then that is when, we're not using them when, they are talking about their campaign. I hope you understand what I'm saying. So this is what, we see. And the same thing, we observe with some other inclusive categories and so on and so forth. Can you scroll up? So these are just some of the observations. And by the time, like I said, we bring out all the information to be clear. We are already at the end of November, so we are likely to have a joint presentation of the two reports in full. My own recommendation with this, because I know the other time when we had this forum, I was represented by Mr. Francis Abayomi. And I just want to suggest something. I think what we need to look at now, first, how do we increase the quantum of coverage? And the good thing is that with the assistance of UNWomen and others, we're having the list of these female candidates. The journalists we're training have said it's not our problem. We'll try to do the stories. So we hope that media executives can agree that, look, part of our reporting is that the reporters must adequately report these candidates. Then the second recommendation is about prominence. When I was in the newsroom in National Concord in those days, there was a policy that was adopted, and that policy was that as the way newspapers were then, we usually will have about 5 to 6 stories on the front page. And even when F.K. Wabiola was running for president, the editor insisted that we must not allow our newspaper to become, so usually we'll have one political story, one science story, one story on sports, one story on government or on politics, and then one story on economy. That was the policy of National Concord then. So my recommendation now is that in this period of political campaign, can we take it as a recommendation from this forum that in our reporting of politics or the campaigns and so on, we'll have at least one story on female candidates or women politicians or women issues in the electoral process on our front page. Now, it may be tall order to say it might be daily, but even if that commitment is there, and let's say for those of us who are daily news, we are editors-in-chief and editors of daily newspapers, can we say at least twice a week we'll have a one front page story or photograph that is exclusively devoted to issues of female candidates and so on? That would be a recommendation for me. And the same recommendation will go to our colleagues who are editing the weekend titles. Then for the online media, the thing about online media really is that it is once you go to that page, it is what you see that captures your attention, because it's online and the stories are running. And we also agree in principle that at least twice or maybe if not daily in a week, one or two of our headline stories will come from the issues of female candidates. If we adopt this policy, we will be happy, so that even if in totality we are not having, because if we also look at it on balance, we have more male candidates than female candidates. So to that extent, our reporting may not necessarily be that equitable or equal. But when it comes to prominence, if we are now seeing the fact that we're doing everything to project them, and maybe later on for those of us in broadcast media, TV or whatever, in our headline stories, if we have that consciousness, at least in our major bulletins, we'll have one story on women. Once we do it, the stories will come out, because you are now the one tasking your reporter, is giving you an outline and say, look, on this issue, something is happening, INEC has said this, and there are reactions to INEC. Why don't you take the reaction of a female governorship candidate, deputy governorship candidate, senatorial candidate, and so on? I think that's the way we can robustly, bring women, and we are hopeful that in subsequent analysis there will be improvement. So if we take this and we start implementing it from this month of December, whereas by the time we come around to do it again, we'll now see that there's a qualitative difference in what we're doing. Of course, this is just a very small sample population in reality. Possibly some of us may be doing better than this, and this is where we're also hoping that with adequate resourcing, IPC and Women Radio will partner to do much more monitoring so that we can look at a bigger representative sample. But this is just a snapshot of what we're seeing now. Thank you very much for your attention.
I know that the last time we had a commitment that we all signed on to. So apparently we have not really done much because if we are reporting some 3 months after that commitment was signed, I think we passed papers around that we signed and we were committed to it. We should be doing better, but it's never too late. And not too bad a report. We still have time before the election. And possibly before we go to some of the suggestions that Mr. Rokudade read out, among others that will still come on, we'll have to possibly give our commitments to it, because we need to have more women at the table when it comes to decision making, critical decision making. And we've seen what the men, let's be realistic, let's be fair, we've seen what men have done Nigeria to. Except we want to deceive ourselves. Can't we have more women, at key decision-making positions? Maybe for a change? What's holding us back? So, men, let's start, reflecting on that before we go. Because one of the key things that also came out of the last meeting was that, we want to report these women, but we don't know them. And so we have a report. We're going to that report. Who are they?
Thank you so much. I really appreciated the study, the reports that we had. In fact, I really, really appreciated that. I was asking her whether we'll get that, we'll get it. And I was wondering whether it took into consideration the TV. What about the TV? But my question, I just wanted to find out whether there are challenges, because last time we were here we agreed. So what happened? Are there challenges that maybe we want to discuss and see how we go over those challenges together? Why is it that the situation did not change or even became worse in some circumstances? What are those challenges? Can we discuss them and see how we overcome those challenges? This was my question.
We can. I think we can just move to this democracy, if they don't mind. We can move to the open dialogue, because Mr. Desmond is going to present the women, but it's important to address some of the issues.
Okay, so just before we go on to your report, presenting the women to us, I think we just discussed some of the key points and what Ms. M just pointed out too, that what are the challenges? We had a list, it was like an article of commitment, of our commitment at the last session. And from this report, there's not been any improvement. So what has happened? What are the challenges? Why? And then what can we do going forward? Can we have that discussion now before we go on to, let me start with you.
I feel that one of the challenges we have is just like Mr. Ragunda's presentation, women are not talking. The women politicians are not talking. I think there was after the INEC announced the candidates on the WhatsApp group, the list was mentioned that it was made available, the list of all women. I believe that list, I don't know whether it was accompanied from compass from the women politicians. It should be made available to women politicians from the presidential to the senatorial House of Reps. Secondly, I know it's too much for Madam, but somebody else should be appointed to be pointing out, okay, we have reached, we have gotten the contact of so candidates in this state. This is the number. You can tell your correspondents to call her. We informed her that the media will be calling her so that she can be open to grant interview. Some people will see some phone numbers without knowing who is calling, and they won't pick, especially politicians these days. So they need to be informed that they should expect media people to call them. So when that person creates from some mass media, from Yola leadership from Abuja, they will know that it's actually true. So somebody should be appointed to be doing that contact. That's one way. The other one is, okay, let me leave it there.
Thank you very much, Siri. My observation is this, that I think we can as well consider this. I don't know whether it is possible, the present group, the WhatsApp group we are using, if we can still make use of it for every story published, can be sending those stories there for everybody to see. Because when we have such reports, at times it will not be to the knowledge of everybody. So we now have an idea of the published story. Then that is that. Then the other one that I observe is that I want to say no one knows that women always refuse to come out, particularly when it comes to interview. I don't know what we can do, particularly Women Radio, UNWomen, to encourage women that they should come out and talk. When you approach them for interview, they will not be forthcoming. So it's a big challenge. I was in Abeokuta for a program they call SWADA, women group. But ironically, men were in control of that event, to the extent that even the women there, they prefer dancing and singing rather than to take over their role. So that's another challenge that I think I noticed. Thank you very much.
I'll come to you. Former NUJ chairman in Lagos, and you also contested for the presidency of NUJ. So you can talk about women and why they are somewhat lethargic when it comes to. Okay.
I also contested to be the president of the Nigerian Guild of Editors. Okay. I'm following her footsteps. Okay. I think the major challenge starts with us. I keep looking around the house. How many women are here, especially those who head some newspapers? How many of us are here? I look around. So everywhere you go, you see more men than women. And then if we are talking women, I think we should invite, it should have been a duty, a responsibility for us to invite women who head daily newspapers and managers of TV stations and online. My online newspaper was not reviewed because I have been a gender person all my life. I reported gender when I was in Champion newspapers. It got to a point for close to 20 years. So it got to a point that every time they were talking about women, it was Victoria to do it. So I struggled to get out of it and to prove that I could do other things like politics, report other things. So I struggled to be, from being woman editor, I struggled to be the features editor. They appointed a man to be the features editor. He felt it wasn't lucrative, so he left. And then they turned around and saw me somewhere at a corner as a woman editor, reporting gender issues. So they felt, okay, since she's a desk person, she could also feature here. But I turned it around. I involved women politicians. I traveled all over the place. I was sponsored by US State Department to travel, and they now saw that it was good. They moved me out of it. Became deputy editor Sunday. Yeah, so it's all about women. If you want to speak about women, I've done this for more than 20 years. So, and I know that women would always report to women. There was a time in Champion, when I got there, we were told that a man was sent to the women's desk. It was punitive. From the newsroom, they moved him to the women's desk. So he left because he saw it as, how can a man you know. So he left. So, based on all my trainings by UN, State Departments and all of that, I got to know that women would always report women issues. Men would hardly report women issues. I think in 2021 year, I did a research on gender disparity and career success of female newspaper journalists. And I got to see huge gaps from review literature of work that had been done on that issue. So it is us. We have to look at women too. How many female editors do we have in Nigeria? So if you have a few, you have to involve them in whatever you're doing, in whatever training you're doing. Because it is one thing for you to send a reporter to go and cover an event. He returns to the office, does the story for you. It is another thing for the story to be published. So you have to involve the people who take the final decision. The people who take the final decision, they will decide whether these stories are worth publishing. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I'd like to respond to some of the issues raised here. I want to start by saying that if we truly want to change Nigeria, media itself needs to change. We are the ones that need to change things around. We invited all media in Nigeria, by the way, that are located in Lagos. And we also invited women that we know that are in the media, but they're not here. And this is, I'm sure there's we will do the charter rules rule here. I have to be sincere with you, my sisters, it's difficult to get women to talk, and it's difficult to get our sisters to come out as well. But we know the challenge, and we're not going to talk about we can't get women, because Nigerian women politicians will not talk to the media. There are various reasons. One, they don't trust the media, and it's a fact. They don't trust the media. Number two, they don't have the money that the men do have. Number three, they're not capable. They can't speak good English. So some of them cannot. They're not confident, because we need to be sincere with ourselves. This is what they tell us. They're not confident enough to talk. The media is not patient with them. They make one mistake, we misquote them, and they feel very uncomfortable. So my question is, there is a man who governed Lagos State 16 years ago. His name is Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He rarely talks to the media, but he's in the media all the time. How many times has he granted us interviews? He hasn't really granted interviews, but look at him, 1 month, at least a month, once in a month, the media picks up on him and we report him. So we're saying do the same for Nigerian women. We don't have to talk to them. If the women are not coming to us because of this, some of these problems I've identified, let us also research them. Let us also do features on them the same way we do it on our politicians who are not talking to us. So it's coming back to us, the media. We have to just be creative in the way we do things. I mean, Uncle Larry, thank you very much for that. Data is very important and is very key. I was explaining to her the reason why you could only do a few media houses. It's funding. It needs money to also, talk on TV, report and monitor TV stations and radio stations. So we need to make sure that we support his organization. Because once we see in black and white that really, I thought Vanguard was the best until I saw that. So if we are able to empower Uncle Larry more, he will be able to show us that we're not really doing justice to women. We need to just go out of our own comfort zone and please report the women. Mr. Desmond is going to give us a list of all the female candidates. Some of them, they don't have telephones. Remember, not all of them live in Abeokuta and Lagos. They live in the grassroots. So they can't reach us. We just have to find a way to report them. And that is what we're saying. When we keep reporting, you report her until something positive happens. That's what we're asking for us to do. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, so let's go to Mrs. Vanderbilt.
Well, points have been raised that women, maybe because they suffer personal underrating perception is very important. If I perceive that coming to you, I will not get anything good out of that relationship, I may not come to you. And even when you come to me, and I assess it, that no matter what I say, the male politician, the male candidate will overshadow me. Not because he has spoken well, not because he has what it takes, but because he has the money. So we need to look at that. The female candidates, they don't have the financial capacity. And in Nigeria, for you to break through, you need that financial capacity. I recall when I was contesting for the presidency of the NUJ, the finance to go around the country became a challenge. And it is where the male candidates have gone to. You too, you have to go there. It's not just sufficient to highlight them. The people who will vote for them, do they know them? You spoke of a female presidential candidate. Has she left her cocoon? If she's just somewhere, contented, that after all, my name will be on the ballot and my face. Let me just, maybe one day, I could be a minister, I could be something. You know, that's the perception that some of them have, and that's why they are coming out. That at least at the end of the day, something will come back to me. How many of them are really willing to serve? Another thing is that in Nigerian media, we need to help the female politicians. We need to reorientate them, not just as dancers, as singers. You see them, once they give them 5 years of Akara or t-shirts, they will lose their personality. We need to reorientate the women. We need to also nurture them. They've not played this role we are asking them to play before. You can't compare Asiwaju Tinubu with another female candidate, even if the female candidate is coming from Lagos. You don't need to speak with Tinubu to have data about him, but you need to speak with that female candidate to have data. So that's why we need to nurture the female candidates, that they should come out of their position. They should also build their own network. They don't have network, and it is network that gets you to where you want to be.
Thank you so much. My name is Mojid Alabi, and I'm representing the publisher of the Premium Times here, who sends his solidarity greetings. Dakolon is so happy that this is actually taking place because in the last couple of months, Premium Times has become very deliberate about women involvement and reporting women. And I happen to actually head the desk which is responsible for that development desk, which focuses on health, education, gender, and environment. Quite unfortunately, we have just realized that the more you work, it seems that the campaign for women involvement has increased. But surprisingly, statistics have shown that, in fact, the percentage of women to be in offices next election will be worse than what we have recorded over time. 2019, it was a bit better, and it actually starts from the candidates. And we look at the National Assembly. In fact, there is a political party that does not have a single female candidate for any of the 469 positions in the National Assembly. 360 at the House of Reps and 109 at the Senate. A political party does not even have a single one. And this is a political party that its own presidential candidate is very, very prominent. That is AAC, I think. So, and what have we discovered as part of the challenges, just like it has been stated here, are the women themselves available? There is a point for us to be deliberate. Like the UNWomen has said, that for us to have sustainable development and sustainable peace, women must be at the table. For them to be at the table, Why is it that at a time when there is protest and there are bills sponsored, there are this, there are challenges, there are movement all over the places, why is it that it is that same time that the figure of women showing interest in political offices is reducing? We should ask ourselves, how available are these women? For the gender desk that we have, which I heard, each time you had reporters to go and do reports around women, just pick 2, 3, 4 women, you continue to find problem of how much do you see women to even put on the table. We do Twitter space every week. Each time we always want to do gender balancing because it is part of what we must do. We are being deliberate. But each time we are looking for sources to put on the listing, we always do not like to see male voices alone. Where are the men? Where are the women rather? You keep looking and you keep searching. By the time you reach out to them, it's either the responses have been bad. But what we will do, part of the solutions recommended, is that we must be deliberate. If we are going to be deliberate, one of my major suggestions here will be that we must have a pool of sources. It's a task for this forum. Let there be a pool of sources among women. Like you have been able to get the list of candidates, get the details of the candidates, get the data of the candidates, get a particular private WhatsApp forum where you drop these details. Once they are there and you have executive, it will not be difficult for people to say, okay, even if you are finding it difficult to reach out to them, for those who may have been relating with them in-house here, they can be able to call their attention and say, please, answer this person. We need you there. Because whether we like it or not, they have to get to that table. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. We've been having reactions from the print and online. I'll come to you, madam. I want to hear from the TV. How have you fared?
That's true.
How have you fared? We met in September.
That's right.
How have you fared?
Yes, thank you so much. Unfortunately, Comrade Larry restricted himself to newspaper, to the print and online. I guess that he will need a lot more resources to address the electronic media, because that it will be a much more difficult task, because it would entail having to monitor these stations on a day-to-day basis. But maybe I should start from the recommendation made by the last speaker, which has to do with having a pool of resource persons. When some of these political parties want to make a point, particularly on television and radio, what they do is that they put together a number of resource persons that you can easily reach and get to the studio to talk. Maybe UNWomen and Women Radio should do something similar, put a pool together from all the political parties that can be reached so easily and get them to the studio. I tell you what we did between September, the last time we met, and now, is that we have on our own, and I'm talking about our stations, compiled a list of the women leaders of each of the political parties, the women who are holding other positions in the national executive committees of the parties, and with their contacts, and we can easily reach them. Just yesterday, for instance, we treated a topic on what the manifestos of the political parties have about women inclusivity in the manifestos of the political parties, because it's one thing to talk about women participation in politics and in governance, but let's look deeper into the manifestos of the various political parties and how interests of women are captured there. We did that yesterday, and we were able to bring 3 women Ambassador Koyo Toyo from the PDP. We got one Lady Rinsola from the APC, and one barrister, I've forgotten her name, from the PROP to come to the studio. I anchored to that program, and we had a very robust discussion. And that's just the first in the series, because we intend to get women from all the other 15 political parties to come and discuss these issues. So come and tell us what your party manifesto provides for women. And I think that since September now, we have had a number of women come on radio and television programs to talk about political parties. And I can tell you that it is one of such programs that motivated some of the political parties to set up women campaign councils now. Because before now, they never thought about it. But now they realize that women can go out here and convince more women to be part of the political process, to vote for their candidates, instead of just relying on the men. So these women campaign councils is now filtering down to the grassroots. That's what I understand now. I was told that yesterday by these women, that they now have women campaign councils even at ward level. And that is a step in the right direction. So we are going to have a lot more women in the news and on programs talk about women and their political parties in governance and in development.
Thank you very much, Honorable. I think going forward, Mr. Arunade needs to be further empowered and supported so that next report that will be coming will give a more robust data, comprehensive data about the media in general, not restricted to newspaper and print and online. Okay, good. Kindly introduce yourself. You just joined the session so that we can continue.
My name is Olabisi Deji Folutide. I work for franktalknow.com and AF24 News. Now, I want to respond to Mojin, some of the questions he raised, that where are the women? I want to say that the women are here. When he asked that question, I said the women are here. It's not as if they are not available. But I also think that we need to expand our source base. Most often when we have a set of people that we normally talk to as journalists. If they are females, we have some particular set of females that we always go to. Probably because they are available. Yeah, they always, when you call, they understand it and they always respond. So we tend to just go to them. And sometimes these people could be busy and they could even be tired of talking. So I'm sure there are so many women in technology, in politics, in education, everywhere. But let's expand as journalists our own database of women. Then you also talk about why are we having lesser women in politics in spite of all the campaigns? Well, I think this thing has to do with our social and cultural milieu. You discover that in 2009 to 2014 or 2015, there seemed to be more participation of women because the people in power recognized the role and importance of women. So it worked. When you have people that do not or may not really care so much, that pay just lip service to the inclusion or involvement of women in politics, this is the kind of thing that we'll be saying. So it's not that the women are not interested, but it's like, there is no deliberate action to bring them in. And even when they attempt to come in, you know that there is a force that is telling them, even without any form of utterance, that look, you are not needed here, so just take charge. And because you can also see, if you see a president that tells you that my wife, you ask him about his wife, and he tells you that he belongs to the other room, it speaks a lot. If his wife belongs to the other room, who are you as a woman to now belong to the top or to belong to any other place? You should be in your husband's other room. You should be cooking. And I think that is a very strong message to the women. And that is why we are probably seeing what we are seeing now. Now, how do I support the suggestion about getting data of female politicians, and how to reach them. And I also want to say that deliberately we did some things after our last meeting. I know that I was deliberate in covering women more between then and now. It may not have reflected so much, but I know I did, and I know that so many other people also did. I know that as time goes on, we will see better statistics. Now, to improve on this, I think there should be an interaction between the female politicians themselves and the media. Let us have a forum between them, so that I remember during the HIV/AIDS campaign, you need to talk to those women before they can face the media. There were campaigns, they invited some of us to actually meet with them, let them feel comfortable sharing their story or talking about themselves. So if we know that the problem is that these women don't trust the media, they are not sure of what we will report about them, then bring us together. Let us build their confidence. Let them interact with us. Let them know that we are not animals, that we are human beings too, that we are reasonable people, and that we can actually report, we are actually working for them. After all, we need women. The women are better than the men as leaders. That is the truth. Right. They are more.
Yes, manager.
Yes. Thank you. So we would like to do anything that will make them to be there. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll go back to UNWomen representative.
Sorry, I thought.
For some reflections. I will come to you, don't worry. Just before she loses her thought line.
Maybe what he wanted to say, but I'm saying because I like practical things. We have talked left, right, and all those. What 1, 2, 3, 4 actions we want to do together to change the situation? So for me, what I'm saying, yes, the women are maybe not, they are not available. The women are afraid of the media. The women does not trust the women do not trust the media, or one thing or the other. But I think we can be deliberate and intentional, and we change the situation. When the Americans they started Coca-Cola, we didn't have it in Africa. We didn't have it in Asia. But now Coca-Cola is everywhere.
Worldwide.
Worldwide.
Yeah.
They were intentional. They created a demand. So I believe there's something that we can do. But we as UNWomen, we are ready, we are sitting here, we are listening, but we think that it is your expertise, it is your domain, it's you who understand whatever we could do. So give us 1, 2, 3, 4 actions that we in this, us in this group, we think we can do and try to change the situation. If it's in terms of talking about the challenge, we can talk here until evening when we are going. Yeah, but for me, I want us now to look at what is it that we can do. Give us 4 things that we can do. Desmond, I hope you will look for the money. 4 things that we'll do. So we will change the situation. Because I think that we can do something with the media itself. We can do what she has said. We can bring the women candidates with the media I was even just thinking that if the women themselves were here, I would have loved to hear what they would say with all these things that they are saying in terms of challenging. There are possibilities. We are doing training for the women candidates.
Yes.
But does that training really tackle the issue of media? Those are issues that we can handle. But again, as I say, it is your domain, it's your expertise. Tell us what you think. 1, 2, 3, 4 things that we can do. If you ask me about gender, I will tell you very well, very quick, very smart what we can do. But this one is your domain, so I leave you people to tell us how we have to go.
We wanted to bring the female candidates here. Mr. Desmond and myself were actually discussing bringing them here, but we couldn't gather everybody, and we don't want them to say we only selected from a particular party, we didn't select from a particular party. We have some of their list. So I think this media and women candidature is something we need to go back and look at. Then from what AIT said they did with the female, the women leaders, I think we also need to come up with we have the data, we need to come up with the platform, WhatsApp. Some of them do not have WhatsApp because some of them are at the grassroots level. But we need to find out how we can gather everybody and have a resource of them. Those are the 2 things I have picked up.
All right, thank you very much. We have 30 minutes to share.
I agree with Madam, that we should be looking at what can be done. But just to say that the example cited by Mr. Imonia Marire shows that where we have a consciousness and we are committed, we can actually get results. That's it. Then secondly, in 2018, when we had trainings for female candidates on strategic communications and media use, to also empower them on how to access the media and why they should access the media, we discovered that some of them that made use of that knowledge got media visibility and actually got elected. So the reason why we are saying this is that there's a correlation between greater media projection and possibility of more women being elected. And to that extent, I feel that some of the suggestions that we have earlier on said, I think we can agree on that here. I have said, for example, that if as editors we're looking at this report covered newspapers and online media, we can have an agreement in principle that in a week, we're talking of Monday to Friday, that at least 2 or 3 days in a week we would have stories of female candidates and female politicians on our front pages. It could even be the story about what the parties are promising women in their manifestos. But we are also particular about the candidates because we want more of them elected. And I also give a reason for our own consumption. I don't want to say our own enlightenment. Now, out of those female candidates that we say got elected, some of them were in Ekiti. One was Ondo. She was in fact the only female candidate, only female member of Ondo House of Assembly, and then Cross River and River. They ended up going there because they had been exposed to strategies of communication. Many of them got elected to head important committees. Unfortunately, we're not even reporting them. I mean, after the election, we also come to the question of how do we even report the few women that are elected. Then, for the online media, let us also agree that our headline news. I'm glad that Alabi is from an online media and you talk about difficulties. Now, apart from the list of candidates, what I also think we can generate working together is also the list of women party leaders. Some of these candidates, if you want to interview them, some of them might say, oh, have you spoken with my leader, my party leader, and so on. So that also helps. Then we have what is called the IPAC, Inter-Party Advisory Council, which also have responsibility for some of these political parties. And in the state, they also have chairmen. Sometimes to going through those party people would help. If you let them understand that we're trying to help your candidates and we are not getting through, I'm sure they can provide that access for the female candidates. In most instances, I don't want to say that, yes, it's true, they are difficult to access, but I think they can be accessed. And it's about the different channels that we can use to ensure that we're able to have access to them. Be that as it may, I feel that we need more forums that bring interaction between these female candidates. So one of the things we are doing, unfortunately, we're just doing limited number of capacity building for the female candidates. What we have resolved is that we would also have journalists, editors, and so on in the room. So it's not just that we are training them, so that even right from that forum, stories will emerge. So that it's not just that we are training female candidates exclusively, it will be a training as well as interface. So where it's possible too, this is something that we can also look at, possibly based on the concentration of the candidates, can look at the geopolitical zones and take some states where we have, so that we go into those states, we have not just capacity building but also interface. So if we have 15 female candidates, for example, in the room, let us also have 15 media organizations, broadcast, radio, and print, which means that rising from that forum, you are sure that 15 stories are automatically coming out. Because from there, they need to interview them. Some of the ways they can report their issues that we train there, they can actually put it immediately into practice and find ways of projecting this thing. So we're not going to have one single approach, but one approach we can all agree on is that we agreed on this agenda. We would imbibe the consciousness, and even though there are those challenges, our duty now is to overcome them, because they can actually be overcome. That's just my own submission. So thank you very much.
Thank you. With the permission of the UNWomen country representative to Nigeria and ECOWAS, please practice. Well, as we have said earlier, I think this presentation is just to re-echo so many of the things we have actually said during the course of our discussions, because I realize that so many things we have said actually have been part of challenges we have faced for some time now. And this presentation is just to show the list of candidates that have been released by INEC, and so far the effort we have made in ensuring that we are able to contact some of them, having their details, and of course it has always been a big challenge for us also. And from this discussion so far, I was even considering whether we should begin to engage a resource person or a consultant that will help us moving around to get the list of or the contact of the candidates. Well, first of all, this is the analysis of the female candidate we did from our own end, UNWomen, and we, after the analysis, I will be going further to present the list of female candidates for the presidential candidate, just one female, then the Senate, House of Rep, and the State House of Assembly. The female candidates so far for 2023 general elections represent just 10.1% of the total candidates for 2023 general elections. So if you look at the overall candidates for the 2023 general election, female candidate is just 10.1%. As we speak right now, we have 1,553 female candidates across both the national and the state assemblies. In the 2019 elections, we had 2,968 female candidates. But in 2023 elections, we only have 553 candidates, female candidates. Then the total number, of course, for the presidential candidate, we just have only one presidential female candidate, and we all know her from APM, Princess Chichi Ojoy, who is currently the only female presidential candidate. Then for the vice president's position, we just 10 out of 18.
Then governor 25 out of 1419, which is 6%. Then deputy governors, that's those ones that are runners mate to the governors, 102, and representing 24%. Then for Senate, we have just 92 female candidates out of 1,101. Then House of Representatives, we have 286 female candidates representing 9%, and the state houses of assembly 1,046 out of representing 10%. Of course, we didn't want to go into details according to state. There are some states like Sokoto, Zamfara, also where there are no female candidate in the House of Representatives and the Senate at all. But Lagos, has the highest number of APC candidates. Of course, which is about APC has 102 female candidates, both Senate, House of Assembly, and State Assemblies. While PDP has 72 female candidates, and there's likelihood that Lagos may produce a greater number of female elected members in 2023 elections, since the two major political parties have pretty number of female. Of course, we know the position of those two major political parties, and once you are a candidate from those two major political parties, there is likelihood of winning election. So those are the analysis of the female political parties. So when we got the list from INEC, the authentic list from INEC, which was released, the first one was released on the 25th which was released. So we went through all the list, and we discovered that there's only one female candidate, like I said earlier, and she's just 44 years old, from APM, and of course after that we have the female candidate for the Senate 2023 general elections. So what we have done is that we try as much as possible to identify the female candidates and put them together. And we also went further to be calling some of them. We work with the League of Women Voters. We also work with we contacted the League of Women Voters. We contacted the Women in Politics Forum and the other platforms where we were able to get in touch with them. And some of them we also contacted. We also reach out to women leaders of those political parties. But there's something I want to say here today, which is, of course, I'm sure so many of us will not believe. There are some political parties in Nigeria, majority of them, apart from the few major political parties, that even the women leaders don't know their female candidates. When you approach them, say we want to have a list of their female candidates, their contact, some of them will tell you that they don't know. So it's a very big challenge for us in the office, and that has been the case. Then on the 25th of October and 28th of October, we did have two separate meetings, one in Lagos and one in Abuja. During that meetings, we brought together about about 60 to 70 female candidates to meet with the private sector. And the idea was to have them outline their campaign strategies and of course challenges and how the private sector will be able to support them. By the time we finished that meeting, we went through the attendance list. Half of the female candidates that were in that meeting did not drop their telephone numbers. Some of them I know personally. When I look at the attendance list, their telephone numbers were not there. And when I called them, they told me that we're sorry, we cannot just drop the telephone number on attendance list because of the sensitivity and the security. So this has also been our challenge. And we have been able to call some of them, and of course, as we speak right now, we're still collecting their telephone numbers. So can we slow down? So these are all the female candidates from different states,
the offices they are all contesting for, and of course this is for the Senate. And after this meeting, we are going to put all of them together in one seat, share with Women Radio, of course, who will now distribute to all the media that are present here today. And then we continue to get their contact and send to Women Radio, who will be able to get with us. So can we go down? So these are all the female candidates for the Senate. And the list is ready, their names are there, the constituency, the position, and of course the state and the local government where we can reach out to them, and they will be able to reach them, and this will be presented to the media. So let's go to the next one, the House of Reps. So this is the contact for the House of Reps. No, this is not. Is it the one? This is not the one. There is one with the HR now. I will also share their contacts. Those ones we have been able to contact physically, and they have their telephone numbers. We also share them in the course of this presentation. So we are going to show all this, we are going to put all of them together and share with you. Women Radio, of course, who is currently coordinating this meeting, and share with them. Yeah, so that they will be able to have the next one. Oh yeah, go down. So this is for those running for governorship and the House of Representatives, state houses of representatives. So we also have their names, and we will be able to share this down. So according to state, their local government, their position down. In some states, like some states there are some states where we don't have a female candidate at all. But those ones we have, then we'll be able to share them, and some of them we already have their contact, telephone numbers. So we have. So we been calling some of them, and of course these are some of them we have been able to get their contact phone numbers, and we're also going to share it with Women Radio, who we add it to the list. Yes, and share with the media organizations, and of course with these telephone numbers we will be able to reach out to them, and we will continue to explore all avenues within our reach, particularly through various platforms where we'll be able to get their contact telephone numbers and share with Women Radio. But during the course of this discussion, we also realized that it is also important to have women leaders of political parties to speak to the media and the rest. So we already have that also. We have a profile of female leaders of different political parties, which we have done before now. And if I know that would be a discussion, I would have done some of those documents to this meeting. But we have those electronic copies of those women leaders that are profiled by different women. So we will also share that with the Women Radio to share with our media organization, and for them to reach out to them, and maybe to be invited for 1 or 2 media appearances based on what we have just had from AIT. So I think these are some of the candidates, female candidates that we have been able to get their profile and their names. And as we speak right now, training of female candidates is ongoing, that training have taken place in Kwara, Ekiti, and Cross River. And this week there was training of female candidates in Ebonyi State. And whenever this training is going on in those states, all the candidates within that political zones are invited to that training. So after this meeting on Monday, I will be getting those candidates that attended those training, which is currently being done by WOC, and that list and their telephone numbers will also be shared with the women to be added to what we already have, and that those also will also be shared with media organizations to enable us to reach out to them, and of course invite them for visibility and general way we want to support them. So I think these are some of this is just the presentation of the female candidate. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, reactions?
Sir Desmond, thank you very much. You've given us, you asked us earlier, where are the women? These are the women, and their numbers are there. And the numbers are not confidential. We would make this available on the platform. I understand that I need to add a few more people on the platform. We'll make those numbers available. Maybe what we can do, Esther from Women Radio, is to quickly call these women ahead of time and let them know that the media will be reaching out to them and they should make themselves available. But the question for us from this end is that we have now given you the women. We need to know, would you report the women? If you are unable to report, because that's why we're gathered here really. That is the reason why we're gathered. Yes, I know, sir, but I also, we agreed on this in September, 1st of September, we met and we agreed. And we have not really seen an improvement with some media. We have seen with some media, but we haven't. Because by March, February is election, right? Am I right? Yes. So by March that we are meeting, February and March. By March that we are meeting, and Mr. Rokodade is giving us the data and a report of what we have done. It would have been too late. It would have been too late. So we need to leave here today to say Premium Times, AIT, Guardian, we will do XYZ. We can do this one. We can do this one free. We can do this one with high discount. This one we are unable to do because of XYZ. I want us to be as open as we can so that we can know what the challenges are. We are aware of some media that are already, I can name names now. I know that I hold the neck of AIT and TVC. I hold their neck. And I say you must report these women. And I know they are reporting it to a large extent. So we need to know why some of us cannot report, why we can't have them on, why we can't interview them, why we cannot just do feature on them. Is it because they will be classified as political campaign? But it's not political campaign because they are women. And we know that women struggle. And we know that women have challenges. And we know that we are here to support women. Because if we are saying affirmative action, what exactly are we doing as media to support women? They don't have money. We don't have money. So you have that duty to make sure that, because if we say it can't be a sustainable Nigeria if you're not deliberate. We spoke about deliberate action, we spoke about being intentional. How deliberate can you be? Please, this is what we want to hear from you. Women don't have money, so let's hear your commitments. Thank you.
I thought to say you have given us the women.
We've given you the women.
Well, you have presented them to us.
We have presented the women.
And there are two different things.
Okay, we presented them to you. We are not giving you the women.
That's why the women are not giving their phone number.
We have presented female candidates to you. We now want you to take it upon yourself to accept and embrace them. That's what we're asking you to do, accept and embrace them.
Embrace again.
Nurture them, promote them, report them.
They are using sensitive words.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. What you have said, ma'am, is very easy it's easily done. But I will say, I'm a woman, but I will say that women also should make themselves not only available, but useful. It's one thing to be available. It's another thing to be useful. I may be talking about pink, and I invite you, a politician, a female politician, to come join me to discuss this color, pink. For a reason. It's not in your area, we're not talking politics, but it's something that will put you, will give you that visibility. But then you talk to some of them and, pardon me, you find empty people, not able, not useful for what you want to do.
Some men are also not useful. Some men are not useful and they are not able. Many men are not useful. I'm talking about politicians, though. They are not useful and they are not useful. So why do we have to treat the women fairly?
I think, for me, thank you so much. I think we are going back to...
I'm not done. So that maybe you want to take the...
No, you can go ahead.
The next thing is the issue of funds. You see, it's not everything that will be free. Some will be free, some will be discounted, and some will be full rates. The politician should come with something. As a woman, I may not have everything, but to continue to ask for freebies might not cut it. Because when our diesel suppliers do not accept freebies, or do not do freebies. So that's another issue. Then, okay, let me just stop.
But it's the same diesel you are using to report the men.
And the men are paying.
And the men pay for us now.
Everything as a gentleman,
some men are paying.
From Channels TV.
Once again, thank you, everyone. My boss was there, Stella Dean Jacob, and she had to step out. So that's to just say I'm happy that you referenced that. There's no brainer about it, that women have been given, prominence in our reportage. But this is more like, I don't know if this can be a bit off record, the background I want to give this. Now, I actually joined TVC. Okay.
It's seriousness. It's an engagement that all of us have taken. So for me, I was just wondering, what is it that this forum can do? So I've been saying, can we maybe say, because there are proposals that have been made, but I want us to agree on those proposals. 1, 2, 3, just 4 things that we think we can do as just this forum. I'm not talking the whole media in Nigeria, but those of us who have been here, who are engaged, who are committed, who have been meeting and who want to see a change. What are those things that we can do as a group?
Number 1.
Number 1. Yes. One, I think that based on this statistic, we look at the states, because again, it's always about resources, and look at the concentration. So we can have, they are campaigning now, so there's logistics of time. But we can take some of these things and say we're going to have one-day media capacity building and engagement with them. And what the commitment we can have from this group is that if we call on any one of the media houses that we need your reporter to be at this event, you'll be there. Like I said, if we have 15 of them in the room and we have 15 journalists from this group or this cohort, we are sure that we're leaving that place with 15 immediate stories and other things can then follow. So I feel that is one suggestion I would make. Then for those who have programs, we have I know you have your own program, Aruli has the program. Can we also now say, well, in November, maybe we are going to have 4 or 5 episodes or editions of those programs. We'll have at least 2 or 3 featuring female candidates. I think it's quite possible. On our own part, we feel we should expand the scope of looking at gender coverage, so that even without gathering like this, either through maybe some form of e-newsletter or whatever, we can then reach out. Another suggestion which also occurred to me would be that so we have this list now, we're sharing it. I also feel we can also empower the female candidates. For those of us who come from NGO side, we can also do some data collection of, okay, so if there are female candidates in Rivers 10 and so on, we can also provide information on the media there, the editors-in-chief and something like that. Something like a quick handbook that we can also give to them to say that on your own, call this person. Like candidates in Abuja, for example, we can provide Imoni's contacts, other editors from Abuja here to say that you can reach them at any time for covering of your issues. So that way we can. So everything is not about physical gathering. We can also empower them with some resources. I think this is the kind of thing that we can do for our own end. Thank you.
Ambrose, can I give a suggestion?
All right.
We need the TV stations.
Oh, sorry.
I wanted to say that we need the practicing media houses to agree to what Uncle Larry has said.
Let me just submit that to the AIT, then there's TVC. Once he speaks, he's speaking for that communication.
Are you sure that I'll be speaking for every media house? Oh, well, I think that the proposals put forward by Comrade Larry are quite expressive enough. I was going to say before he spoke that one is to give the contacts of specific individuals to these female politicians to reach out to them. Just as you are giving us their contacts, give our own contacts to them to reach out to us, and well, let's see how we can work with them in that. Like my colleague said earlier on, some of these coverages and programs, some of them are not freebies. Some of them can be discounted. Some of them may not be discounted, but where we can walk around it, we walk around such things and give them the visibility that they need. They may not be talking about their candidature and their ambitions on such programs, but they can come and talk intelligibly about something else, and that will give them the visibility that they need. Then the other aspect of it has to do with what was proposed earlier on, which is the interaction with these candidates where it is possible. Comrade Larry talks about the training, the ongoing training programs, and the invitation of media houses to these training programs. But if the UNWomen and Women Radio can actually organize, maybe zonally, to have these women have some interaction with the media, so that we can get to meet them one-on-one and know them, and they know us, and they can reach out to us, we can reach out to them. That would be very, very helpful, in my view.
Mrs. Solufobi,
yes,
commitments on RAPAR and 5GFM.
I would say, on behalf of those two stations that we surely will do it, we'll give them more visibility. 5GFM is an indigenous language. We speak Yoruba and Pidgin, and many of these people speak, that is where they are most comfortable. They speak the local, they are grassroots people. So we'll do more, so we'll consciously do more to invite them to talk. We will also reach out to the market women, because the market women are a formidable group of people. Yes, ma'am? No, the microphone. The market women.
That's interesting.
I don't know about that. The market women are a formidable group, you know, and there are people that would not be left behind. Then a thought came to mind, and that is the need to start grooming people, grooming young ladies who may not be thinking of politics now. May I respectfully use someone here as an example? Auntie Funke, Mrs. Faduga. I'm sure because she worked alongside some people, some politicians, started with her mom, a market leader. She got the training, the initial training from that. And the training that she got helped her to the point she is now. So the earlier we start grooming them, the earlier we start grooming young ladies to get involved in politics, to give them a voice. By the time they get out into the world, they will not be afraid of the media again. They would have upped their confidence. So, on behalf of Ray Power and Faji FM, we promise that that is something we are going to focus on. Weekly.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hello, online media. Okay.
Okay.
Women radio.
For pen pushing,
okay.
we have been doing a lot, but we promise to do more. And we promise to do it every week now.
Wow.
Yes, every week. Not just focusing on the female candidates, but focusing on women in politics. Their programs, what will elevate the women, building their confidence, because that's a major problem. Because women that do not have confidence, absolutely, even when you give them the power, they may not be able to exercise the power. So we need to build confidence in women so that they can be able to exercise the power when it comes to their table. Thank you. Yeah.
Sorry, I just want to add something. And may I also say that my colleague here, Biola Abiragba, she is the chief editor for Ray Power. She recently got an award in Abuja based on the work she has been doing for women. So she's not a baby on the job, so she's going to do even more.
Wow.
Women radio.
Women radio.
Microphone.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Amazing conversation all the way. So I'm going to be raising some concerns here, and these are concerns of most reporters. So thank God we have editors, we have publishers in the house here. A lot of reporters have complained that when they go attend this event, they come back with their stories. It takes time for the editor to finally approve it. Sometimes they go to that pool of stories, like, okay, let's just pick this one out, and they have it. Sometimes they have this women featured just for quota system to say we had a woman on the panel, or we had 2 women, not because you actually wanted to listen to them. These are the issues that we get to have. For us, I know somebody probably say, oh, it's women radio, oh yes, it's your mandate. Yes, I know. And we are being intentional about it. Talking about building the confidence of these women, sometimes you see some journalists on some platforms, I've seen some of them, they intentionally, when they see that these women are not, they don't sound like what they want to hear, or they're not giving them the kind of answers they want to hear, they feed on their fear, and they keep on asking them difficult questions, putting them in a box where they know these women are going to get trapped. We should actually stop doing that. So for us at Women Radio, there's sometimes you have interviews with the candidates, and you can tell that this person doesn't necessarily have a lot of idea about the subject matter. You try to help them, give them clues, but we see some platforms, some journalists would intentionally feed on that to make the woman look like she doesn't know what she's doing, and they run along with that story. Before you know it, you're seeing one headline that's making the woman look like she doesn't know what she's saying. I remember a particular interview of a lady who said something on one particular platform that I'm not going to mention it. And everybody took that bit of the interview. I had to go back to listen to some of the other things that she said. And she actually did make sense some of the other things that she said. Same way we have men who go on live TV and goof. Nobody will say anything. Nobody will say say anything. People would say, oh, it's just a one-off, it's a mistake, it happens, we are human beings. But when it's for the women, we don't make such excuses for them. We don't allow them. And next thing, we are cancelling them. And so one editor or somebody is saying somewhere, oh, we're not going to have this woman on our platform again. We're not going to speak to her again. She doesn't give us the kind of access that we need. Editors, publishers, I'm appealing to us. We can actually do better. Thank you. We can.
Well, I should say that it's not only in Sudan that you have janjaweeds. You have janjaweed hosts.
To drop the name of the reporter, stand by permanently for women, gender. We have a reporter that is dedicated to reporting gender, and we're willing that such a reporter is always carried along. It's just beyond, we are being deliberate about it, and we are very much interested. But more importantly, there's something that you think that when women are in positions of authority, what we have seen, that we may not have specific data to back it up, but what we have seen is that when women take leadership positions in newsroom, it's even when issues of women get relegated. And it is very simple, yes, and I'm going to back it up. It's only when women get to positions of authority in newsrooms that they have more problems with their female counterparts in the newsrooms. And as a result of that, I've been to, at least I've worked in not less than 4 mainstream media, and I realized that each time when some of us who seem to be female advocates want women to take charge, especially immediately they take charge like this, women who work with them begin to create problems and they end up separating them, go to these places, go to another desk. So, I'm coming now. So the only way we can be out of this is that women themselves must be deliberate to actually report women themselves. Yes. I do not have issues like just a few days ago. I just passed a story regarding to breastfeeding and the difficulties Nigerian career women are going through. It is deliberate. We have to say, let us go into some of these issues. Let's look at the career women and the breastfeeding challenges and the policies, the maternity leave policies in the country. We were just being deliberate about it. But you will realize that women who are even supposed to be part of this are those who even delay what we are going to do or are going to be creating unnecessary bottlenecks. So women themselves need to take the charge, need to challenge themselves to deliberately want to report women. If they can do it, it is simple for men. Men don't have any problem with women. That's the truth.
Okay, there's a woman that's challenging you there. All right.
I am supporting you 100%. They are supporting me.
What is said is actually true, because I've had friends who have called me because my friend is that. Go ahead. Okay. My name is Azuka. So what he said is actually true, because I've had friends in the media houses who have called me because my friends were either the editors or they were the ones in charge. And like, your friend is very wicked, she's mean, I don't know what I've done to her, she's envious or what, I don't know, stuff like that. But I want to use myself as an example. I work with, I don't know if you guys know UNWomen of the former Arise TV. I'm going to use an example, also Ruth Osime. These are 2 men I've worked with, because I've always worked with men in this day. They've been my editors, and you know the men, the truth about it is that the men don't really, they are not that tough. They're kind of liberal. They understand you when you say, I have to go do this or that, but it's a woman boss, you have to do what you have to do. So, what I also realized is that when I worked with Ijoma is a no-nonsense person. She's very focused, she's a workaholic. Huh?
When we are focused.
Yes. Ijoma is very focused. She's very, initially I was like, why does she hate me like this? I remember one time she gave me an assignment and I needed to go to London for this, my friends, because I like to enjoy my life, my friend's birthday party. So I'm like thinking, how will I now do this thing and go to London? It was very tough for me. They were like, you have to come. I said, okay, I'll see how I can go about it. So I did the story. I left it with another colleague of mine. So I left. But I already went to tell him that I want to travel. He said that you can't go. There's a lot of work on ground. You cannot travel. That should not give me permission to travel. And I didn't want to go to my MD or my chairman. So I sneaked. I said, okay, I'm going to go to London. I went to London. I risked it. I went to London. I was inside the plane. Before the plane took off, and she now called me
I was sweating. Can you imagine, like I was sweating inside the plane? So and I said, she asked, where are you? I said, I'm actually at Aja, but I'm coming to the airport. It's not true, I'm not in Aja, I'm inside the plane, going to London. So I was so scared. And so when you know the pilot, when they want to announce, she now called me again and said, where are you? I said, I'm inside the bus, I'm at Aja, I'm coming. She now left me. I was shaking, I was not shaking like a jellyfish. I said, who sent me this guy? So end of the day, even we women too, we are the ones that also put ourselves in that position. I have to be fair to these female guys. Do you understand? Just because I want to go and do Jayori, I just said I have to go. I didn't even care that I might get into trouble. But you know that when I went to London, she kept on calling me. I won't pick my call. So I was answering her with a WhatsApp call. So she was like, where are you? I said, this one, are you out of the country? I said, I'm in the country. I don't know what's wrong with my phone. Someone like, okay, she doesn't come here, she just leave me. Do you know that fear? She now told somebody that I'm going to make sure that Azuka gets suspended. I think she's not in this country, but she's lying to me. So when my friend now told me, do you know that, do you know that fear? Because Ijoma doesn't take rubbish. If your mother reaches German stable, just know that you're packing your load and leaving this day, or maybe they'll give you like indefinite suspension, and my chairman doesn't joke with her decision like that, you know. So that thing now put fear in me. You know that for 1 month plus, you know, like, that's the person now. Don't disappear. Fear. Do you understand? So sometimes we women too, we are also the problem, because the men are liberal with us. Does not mean that the women or guys are not that after us, because a woman wants you to walk. Or the men that are share, let's say the truth. They'll be laughing with you, they'll be petting you and everything. Editor, now let me just go something just for 2 days now. You can't do that with the female boss. You have to give her a good reason why you have to travel. I mean, what? Yes. Yes, but you know what? Now, everything she taught me, listen, sorry, my last point is that everything she taught me, I thought that she was being wicked to me. I'm not doing it now. I'm making it by shout. Yeah. Thank you very much.
So you are not wicked then? Everything she taught you and you felt she was wicked, you are not doing it. Okay, I'm here. Okay, I'll come to you. He's been waiting. Just hold on. Okay, go ahead, sir.
I think we should be time conscious. It's almost to 5 now. Yes. We're supposed to be here for 3 hours. We're here the first week of September, and we made commitments, which we wrote down. I think for those of us who are not here, probably the commitments they should be reminded of the commitments so that they can flow with the time. If we keep telling stories here, we won't live here today. For me, what I think, I made some suggestion earlier in the beginning. Yes, leadership newspapers. I made a suggestion earlier. I think I will need to add more to it. For us as leadership, we've been doing and will continue to do. The presentation of the reports, media reports, only covered up to that. If it had covered September, you would have seen that a lot of reports on women were done. Immediately we left this program, that first month, a lot of reports were done. We wrote as well. I think I sent you some of the links. So it should be a continuum. Whoever is handling that should continue to do at least on quarterly basis so that we can show where we are, so that we can also, and the thing should be shared on the platform. The platform should also be used, not just should be used to ginger us so that we can do more. Every 2 weeks, something new should come up. Contacts. You are doing a lot of interviews with women. I do say it by email and so on from you. Some of those interviews could be transcribed, sent on the platform. Transcribed. We take a story from it. You can even take interview and request for photographs to do interview from it. You understand? It helps position women, not just on politics, on gender-based health, so this thing should be, we should implement it. Some of us should also go back to look at those agreements we signed, so that we can also, secondly, when UNWomen is doing program, maybe all these trainings Mr. Desmond mentioned, we have correspondence in every state. All the national media, especially the newspapers and the TVs, just said we are having a program. Post it 2-3 days. We are having a program at this place. Send us your correspondence. We just send the name of your phone number. The guy will be there.
We use them. We need to let you know. We use Guardian, TVC, channels in Calabar, in Kaduna, in Nasarawa.
There are 7 days. We publish 7 days a week.
So you will give us daily.
If you press anything, especially those senators, we need the contacts. We'll do it daily for you. We'll do weekly.
And their subordinates being what we're talking about. That when women okay, Mojid. So first off, what I've noticed over time is the fact that women kind of find a way to undermine their female bosses. Exactly. And I don't know why that is. I think you just assume that because your boss is a woman, she should be lenient, she should be nice to you. Why? You have male bosses that will not say anything, but their silence is threatening you already. You don't know his next line of action. But because your boss is a female, you just assume that she's going to be nice, she should understand. When you come to her with any petty excuse, you should take it. No, I won't take it. I won't take your excuse. If it's not tenable, if I look at it and I feel like it's not something I should grant, I will not. Call me whatever you will, but that's what it is.
But why does men take? Just like
Alright, let's not get into that idea.
We need to move on.
We need to move on. We need to round off. We have done close to 4.
Commitment from Frank Talk.
Commitment.
My name is Commitment. I wasn't at the first meeting, but when he was talking about when he was giving his data, that's Mr. Arugandadi, I had to bring out my iPad to Google the next edition because there's hardly any day I don't publish anything on women. I've been a gender person all my life, so there's no day. I Googled and I saw women. I'm like, where did he get his data from? But when I saw the platforms that he reviewed, I'm like, okay. So I'll continue with the work of women. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we need to.
I also accused Mr. Rogundari that he didn't review our
online
newspaper.
Can I say something on his behalf? We have limited funds for him to do.
I understand.
But by March, you know, he's going to. We're going to make sure that from TV to more online and radio, he would expand the horizon.
No problem.
Thank you.
Yeah, what I just want to say as a commitment is that between now and March, for Frank Talk and AF24 News, we make sure that we do one interview with a female politician, and we will send the link to the platform so that even if Mr. Rogundade doesn't have to be paid to collect the links, that link will be there.
Thank you very much. My name is Kolako. I edit the cable. I just want to reel out some commitments.
Reel out? Yes.
I have a long list actually. So the cable has always been intentional about coverage of women issues, even female politicians. We do it every time. So I won't go into the research, the presentation. So moving forward, we'll start a series on female candidates for National Assembly. We'll do one per week. Also, we'll start a spotlight series on relatively known female candidates and female politicians. Hopefully we'll be able to do that with the help of the database. I noticed that there are not a lot of contact details. We'll take the effort, we'll put in the effort of trying to get those women. I know we can if we try. And I also encourage everyone to adopt cross-publishing. It's easy to publish alone, but if we syndicate, these women will get better visibility. Particularly radio and TV shows. So at the cable, we tend to use a lot of content from radio and TV. So I remember one of my colleagues. I know one of my colleagues was saying earlier that women radio can transcribe. You don't have to transcribe for us. You can just drop the clip and put the details. We'll do the needful. So if we do interviews, or if leadership or TVC does interviews, I'll expect that we can all pick story angles from there. That way we'll have it on more platforms. So there are other things there, but we'll do them. We don't need to list them out.
Thank you very much. I think
Please just add, I just want to add this.
Okay, start adding.
Guardian has not spoken. No, please, I'll give him. I will be calling names. Guardian has not spoken. Nation, Sun has not spoken. Channels has not spoken. So yes.
Oh yeah.
Please,
1 minute.
Yes, 1 minute. We agree, madam.
Yes,
we agree on the
weekly.
Send. No, I'm talking about weekly. Sending materials to the
platform. Yes.
I still want to add this, and I believe it will make it easy as well. The email address of each organization can as well be copied. Okay. So that if you don't get it on your platform, you can easily get on the email address. That makes it more better.
And TVC did not give us commitment. He only spoke. He didn't give commitment because I don't have it here.
He's spoken. He's spoken is a commitment. It's taken. Okay, let's go, sir. I'll come to you. Okay. Yeah.
My name is Tony Mamaka. I work for the Sun newspapers. We have a regular full page that runs every week for women who have distinguished themselves in different careers called Women of the Sun. Okay, what we have done within this period of politics is that we have intensified efforts to ensure that women get visibility. That's between the last time we met here and today. By way of commitment, let me say that we are going to do more than what we've done in the past. Additionally, at the point where I joined this meeting today, Madam Tong did make a point about doing stories without actually reaching the female politicians. That is doable. You can do a very good feature story without actually reaching those women. If you try to reach somebody and you can't get that person, you can get the person close to that person to tell you, to give you whatever information that you need. You can talk to a party official to give you whatever information you need about that particular female candidate. I think that's what I can add to that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I want to speak. One, because I have this cold and I think that the less talking I do, better for everybody and me. Secondly, a lot of things I would have liked to talk about are actually been said by many people. The key issues that I take, one, when we are talking about the challenges, is that women are not available, they don't have money, they don't have this, they are not resourceful, and all that. And a lot of excuses and solutions have been proffered. Let me just take the aspect of the editorial board. We have the chairman of the editorial board, I'm on the editorial board of the Guardian. The editorial board deals with news analysis and comments and editorials. A lot of things, 90% of what we write as editorials are taken as sourced from news, interviews. So if we didn't have many interviews, many news about women in politics, then of course the editorials would be far few. But if everybody keeps to his commitments or her commitments, and we have a lot more, then of course the editorial boards will have chances, will have more chances of picking topics that are related to women in politics. When I haven't said that, let me just also add that I've followed many of the commitments. I think that those who are making the commitments should also be mindful of the challenges embedded in those commitments too. Yeah, they may be willing, but most of the time they are not totally in charge of the production, the programs and all that. So there are other people that are in charge and they may have other ideas. So there are going to be challenges. Some of the editors are not here. The ideas also will be different from what we are talking about. And then we are in a country where a lot of things happen every day. So even if you have a commitment, you have a plan, things that are happening may easily overtake or override your plan. And so you have the commitment, but you cannot always fulfill them. So I think that we should also have that in mind when we are talking about commitments. Well, I would like to stop for now. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Political participation and all of that, let's not forget that the issue of gender-based violence, violence against women is still a major one, and we should also focus on that. I think there's a 16-day activism, blah, 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 about women. So please, let's not forget that. While we're focusing on women and their politics, political participation and all of that, let's not lose focus on the need for us to continue to write about, report, condemn gender-based violence. I think we've had a very robust session, and the takeoff. Channels has already committed. Yeah, she gave a commitment to increase by sign language.
No, there's a program that you bring in politicians, politics and something. Yes, so, because we just don't want to have a woman desk. We also want to mainstream. The moment we have a woman woman desk, then we limit everything to that woman desk. We want to mainstream. We want to mainstream women. So on that your flagship program, we want women. On your flagship program on AIT, we want women. We don't want you to bring women at 11 p.m. or 12 midnight or 1 a.m. I'm serious. No, it's true. We want to have the women at the main. We want you to mainstream them into your flagship programs as well. Thank you. So we need your commitment, please. We met before.
Yes, ma'am.
Please.
And I'm sure you've seen some context.
Yes.
The reason I didn't want to speak is because I don't want to make excuses. I'm not one for making excuses. So I'm going to I feel a bit like we have underperformed, but not necessarily, because we've seen some women on those programs. Mrs. Obi is recently appeared. The national woman leader of the APC also appeared. There's also been some content on women participation in politics on our flagship bulletin. I wanted to be the one to do that report, but because most of the speakers are in Abuja and I'm based in Lagos, so we've done some things. The things I committed to doing, which is my own area of specialty, gender-based reporting on violence against women and underage, I haven't been quite up to the task with that. But I'm going to renew my commitment towards delivering on that. And I'm already working on one. My own reports take quite a while, but I always deliver. So we're ensuring that we'll see more of those women, including those faces that are not so popular, but we need to get more of the women, to mainstream them through our programs. Thank you.
Yeah, especially now that we are in our 16-day of activity.
That's what I'm going
Voilà.
for.
That's what we're doing.
Yeah, that's what we're discussing.
Thank you very much. I think we should be rounding up now.
Yes, we should.
And then,
we should.
So the microphone goes back to you.
Yeah, but sir, you've not given us commitment, sir.
Who?
No, you sir. You are looking good. Yes, and TVC gave us big. Because the next time we are
Okay.
the next time we are meeting.
Okay. Well, what I'm saying is,
And Nas from Yola. We're talking privately, sir. You need to give us commitment. The money is in your Adamawa. The money is there.
Okay.
Adamawa. So you need to give us commitment.
okay, so now I can just say this. Okay, we can say this confidently that the platform we have, you will begin to see links upon links, YouTube upon YouTube links, bombarding you of interviews of female candidates, especially those when you are submitting their numbers. And trust me, how strong this commitment is even going to be infinitesimal to when Stella also stamps authority, because she's big on that. So I'm making this decision as executive editor, but when the director of news also say, let it be. So we are going to have this candidate. We'll have interviews on every bulletin that is 30 minutes and above. So we always have these short clips of interviews. So we'll go for them, we'll spotlight them. It's an NBC requirement that we should even cross across parties. So there is really no problem at all. So, but the issue of adverts and all those things, we can also look at that, and give a discount, but they have to pay.
Thank you. Now that I'm talking, there's a documentary that UNWomen had a meeting. You know, we always say traditional rulers are gatekeepers and we need to go through, access them. They met with traditional rulers. Michael, let's have it on. They met with traditional rulers, and traditional rulers made commitments. Am I right? They made commitments. Yes. They said they will do this. This is a documentary. It's not too long. Please help us put it on TVC and AIT and channels. We can edit it out for you. Online media, help us, please. Print media, the audio is there. You can also help us edit and transcribe and use it. God bless. Thank you.
And we also
Thank you. I will send it to the platform. Thank you.
You should help us put this thing.
Please.
Because they took engagements.
Yes.
They took commitments.
They
signed the communique that is there. But for me, as UN Women's rep, what I left with were two big things. One, they said we should help them identify all the bad practices, the bad cultures, the bad values that are limiting women's potential, so that they will banish it from their communities. This is what they said. The second one, what I took away was, they said they are going to join women's advocacy to advocate for 30% women in parliament, as stated in the national gender policy. So there are other many things there, but I think these are the two key things that really came out. If we can make it, and why did we have this meeting, dialogue with them, is because of the rate of gender-based violence in elections. And so we said they are traditional rulers. They can ensure that they reduce this violence in their area of jurisdiction. So if you can help us take their declaration in your different media, please, it will help us.
Because this is not campaign. It's not political campaign. It's a traditional ruler saying we are committed to helping women. We are committed to supporting the media. We are committed to your affirmative action. Sorry, sir.
The duration.
It's about 10 minutes, but we can edit it for you. We can edit, you can take the full 10 minutes and take out the edits you want. My brother, Anthony will share on the platform for us. Please, please. We are begging you, do this for us.
And they were first class.
We committed, so
okay.
Dr. Folutile, so okay. Not on the I mean, I stand on it.
Say that you give me every second.
Yes. I'm saying it so that Madam United Nations can hear us. So that she can hear that you have all our support. So my support is 100%. As much as you want, Tone, you'll get.
Thank you.
All right. At 5 minutes to the hour, the microphone finds Madam Tone for the round of comments and vote of thanks, so that we can leave at 5 o'clock.
Yeah. On behalf of UNWomen, I want to thank my seniors, my colleagues, that you have found time on a Saturday, on a very busy Saturday for that matter, that we know that Lagos is at a standstill. Finding time to come here on time, I am very grateful. I'm going to start by asking you to thank UNWomen. Without the support of UNWomen, you won't be sitting here. Without the support of UNWomen, you won't be able to do this. So we're very grateful. It's not your responsibility really, but you took it upon yourself to support Nigerian women in politics, to ensure that violence is reduced to its barest minimum. We are indeed very grateful for your practical approach, for all your interventions. Please help me approach. Thank you very much. And I just want to thank my seniors and my colleagues. Thank you for believing in Nigerian women. Thank you for being deliberate. Thank you for being intentional. And we just ask you to please continue to be patient. We say keep reporting her until something happens. We're hoping that as many as we can get you to sign up to the 50-50 equality media strategy. It's something that actually emanated from the BBC room. BBC identified the fact that women are disadvantaged and women are not reported more. Women Radio joined because we also want to balance the male perspective. And so I'm championing this 50-50 media strategy. I'm hoping to come to the media houses and talk to the editors and the managers for you to please commit to it. It's data driven. It helps you to look at what you have done on a weekly, on a monthly basis. So you can say that this week I had 30% women, and then you can work towards having more women the following month. It's not mandatory. We're just saying that for us to have a sustainable democracy, a sustainable Nigeria, we need to work towards a 50-50. We know that it may take years, but we say if you keep reporting her, then the 50-50 will be achieved. We thank you very much. We're hoping to see you in 3 months' time. What we have not done, Ambrose, is to agree where we're going to meet again. I know we keep saying Lagos is a seat of power, but we need to also be looking at the women outside of Lagos, outside of the South Zone. Once again, I thank you very much for believing in this dream and for committing to report women more. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Please, can you also share what we've done here through your media?
Yes.
So that women know that really the media is concerned about them.
Yes. I think what my sister is saying here is that if we can help report what we have done here today, to say, we will be meeting with women, because yes, we may be about 30 or 40, but the power that we all have, the convening power we have, we should make use of it. Thank you very much. We're grateful. Thank you. Safe journey to those of us living in Lagos. We're grateful. Safe journey to all of us living in Lagos. Safe journey to all of us living in Lagos. Thank you so much. God bless Nigeria. Thank you.
We thank the moderator.
Hey, my brother, the one and only, Rosuma. We are very grateful. Thank you. I also thank Mr. Larry Arukundani, because the data he gave here is eye-opening. And by March, by God's grace, we will have a much comprehensive data. We will all the media here will be reported, including TV and radio. So thank you, Mr. Arukundani, if you're listening to this. Thank you. Let's take photo. We didn't take photo.
So you spoke about the first resource center for women in politics. What should Nigerian women look forward to, the benefits they stand to gain, and how this will change the numbers, the rate of women in politics in Nigeria?
Yeah, thank you for that question. It's very, very important. Actually, politics is a whole domain that you need to be schooled in. You don't just get up in the morning and you say, yes, I want to do politics. So you need to study, you need to understand what politics is all about. And so this center is actually there to provide material support. You see, women don't have the kind of money that men have. So they've always been asking us money to do posters and all those kind of things. So these centers will help them to print their posters, to print whatever they want to print. They will also have access to resources, to materials that they can read to study. They can also have access to internet. They will have access to training. They will have access to coaching and mentoring. They can even have a discussion with our other colleagues from other countries. They can also have a discussion with other politicians, experienced politicians from out of Nigeria, women politicians. And they also have the possibility of having experts talking to them. This resource center is actually for every Nigerian woman, regardless of the political party, regardless of religion, regardless of area where you come from. You can always access this resource center. The resource center, we've already started with 3. We have one in Abuja, we are going to have one in Calabar, and we are going to have another one in Borno. So this resource center is preparing women not only for the general elections in 2023, but we have already started preparing women for 2027.
All right. So talking about the conversations we've had with practitioners and some of their submissions on this female candidate, what would be your advice to the female candidates based off of what the media practitioners have complained about?
Yeah, the first thing I would say is that I leave this meeting today with a very positive impression, that the Nigerian media, those of us who sat here today, I'm living with this impression that they actually want to do something. They want to push the needle. They are also in support of women sitting at the table. But there are challenges. There are challenges that come from the issues that have been discussed. There are challenges that come from the media themselves. There are challenges that come also from the women themselves. But I think at the end of the meeting, we've come to have some solutions, some proposals that we are going to start implementing. If I have a message to women, I will want to tell them again that politics is a domain that you have to study it, you have to understand it. And if you are a politician, whether you're a woman or a man, you should be ready to meet the press. You should be able to talk to the media, because it is through the media that most people will know your program. What is it that you want to change? What is it that you want to bring on the table? Who are you? What you intend to do? So today I want to inform the women in politics that there is a media, there are media practitioners who are sympathetic to their causes and who want to work with them, and that they should be open, and that in the days ahead, the months ahead, they will be contacted. There will be this relationship between women in politics and the media. It's going to be more friendly, more understanding, and that they shouldn't fear that the media is going to be there just to insult them or to make them feel inferior. No, the media is cognizant of the need to have women sitting at the table, because if women don't sit at the table, we will never have sustainable development, we will never have sustainable peace. So all of us are supporting them. Women, we don't have a particular political party. The party that belongs to us women is the Women's Party. Wherever we see women, whether they come from which party, they come from which region, if that woman is capable of delivering the goods, let's vote for the women.
So much has been said about the inclusion of women in the political affairs of the country. But ma'am, what gives you the conviction that the inclusion of more women would have a positive effect on the affairs of the nation?
Yes, actually, we have. It's not just we're not just talking because we want to talk, or we are not wanting women to sit on the table because we want to talk. Studies have showed that countries that never gave importance to gender equality and women's empowerment, they pay the price of more poverty. They pay the price of more diseases. They pay the price of more malnutrition. They pay the price of more deprivations, and they pay the price of underdevelopment. You know, because women and men, they have the different way at which they look at life, and they bring different expertise, they bring different competencies, they bring different IQ, they bring different inspirations. So when the two are sitting on any table, they have a complete photo. They bring a sustainable development to whatever they are saying, because the man will see his own side, the woman too is going to see their own side. So when they combine the two, we have a complete photo, and whatever comes out is always very sustainable and durable.
One last question, ma'am. What advice do you have for the women out there who are intending or who have the aspirations of coming out, but they feel that maybe they will not, they might not be able to make it because it's a male-dominated sector? What advice do you have for them?
Yeah, I just have to encourage all the women that there is space for everybody. There is space for everybody. Always encourage people. The first thing is to know what you want to do, what you want to be, what you want to become. The second thing is to develop the competence, the capacity. It's because we are not just going to accept you because you're a woman. You should have the capacity, you should have the competence to be able, to deliver the goods. There's also the aspect of concentration. We heard today that one lady who abandons her work to go somewhere to enjoy life. No, that's not a good work ethics. A woman should be serious at what she's doing, because they are not going to say, okay, we'll give you on the platter of gold because you're a woman. No, you have to deliver the goods. But the good thing is that they should be confident, because there are other women who have gone ahead of them. There are other women who have shown good examples, and there is a space for everybody everybody. There is no, I cannot say that there's a closed door for women. No, you just have to push harder and go further. For instance, if I take an example of myself, I didn't come from a rich family. I didn't come from where I will have all the facilities and say, yes, this is, no, I wasn't born with a golden or silver spoon. I came from a poor family, humble family, but I kept on going ahead, and today I'm here. I am the representative of UNWomen to Nigeria and ECOWAS. If I could do it, every other woman can do it. Just get the capacities, just know what you want, just continue, don't give up, and just produce good results and believe in yourself.
Ma, what's the biggest message from this quarterly dialogue for media executives? The biggest message that they charged?
Actually, for me, I think the message I would say to all of us who are here, the media, is that they should stick to the commitments they have made, because they are already convinced that gender equality and women's empowerment brings about sustainable development and sustainable peace. But now the issue is they should be patient with women, they should encourage women, they should avoid to intimidate or try to, you know, to make women look at the media as an enemy. They should instead make women look at the media as a friend, as an ally to their aspirations. This is the message I will bring.
All right. Thank you so much, Madam.
So far, there's been so much, like so many people have been clamoring for the fact that more women should be included in the political affairs of the country. So, what gives you the conviction that the inclusion of more women in the polity of the nation would better the state of the nation?
Without women sitting at the table, taking decisions alongside the men, without women being included in governance, we cannot have a sustainable democracy. We cannot have a sustainable development. We cannot have a sustainable, peaceful Nigeria. That is what we have identified here today. And this is the second time we are meeting media executives and the editors for them to be deliberate and be intentional in reporting women in politics. We've identified that women, for varied reasons, don't want to talk with the media. And so what UNWomen has done is to work with CSOs to also build the capacity of women in politics. I'm aware that we're doing this in 7 states of Nigeria, in Kwara, in Kaduna, FCT, Ekiti, Ebonyi, and Borno State, and Calabar. So, you know, they supported WOTC, I'm aware of that, and they're supporting Women Radio to also build the capacity of reporters as well to report women more, and WOTC to build the capacity of women in politics to be able to engage better with the media. So for us, we're looking at it from a two-pronged approach. You know, build the capacity of women in politics, build the capacity of reporters to understand the need to be intentional, to be deliberate, and to report women more. And you would be seeing, if you haven't, the improvement in the media. We had about 30 media gathered here today, the executives and the editors, and they have committed, you know, that they will do more. And they're saying to us, let us see the women. And we're saying, we presented a list of female candidates today. We give them the details of the women, their telephone numbers, their contact person, their contact details, and we will go back to also work on the profile of the women so that it can be easy for our colleagues in the media to report them. We want to see the women on flagship programs. We want to see the women on the front pages of newspapers, and that is what our colleagues here today have agreed and committed to doing.
So, I'm going further. What advice do you have for women out there who probably would want to contest for political positions, but are limited by resources, and some of them are limited by the fact that they feel that it's a non-dominated sector, and they don't have a chance. So what advice do you have?
I mean, women should not give up at all. I know that having resources is quite important, to have resources to be able to do politics. But look, there are quite a number of CSOs that are supporting women as well. I'm aware that Nigerian Women Trust Fund
fund led by Mufuli Atfijabi, for instance, is building the capacity of women as well. And they are providing resources in terms of campaign materials and what have you. So there are different agencies and different women-led organizations that are also committed to supporting women. But, you know, for you as a woman to want to do politics, you also need your money as well. So, you know, build your own financial base, and there are other organizations that will definitely support you. One, as I mentioned, is Nigerian Women Trust Fund.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much. My name is Tung Okiwale Shunaya of Women Radio 91.7.
So, but what gives you the conviction that the inclusion of more women in the political affairs of Nigeria would make the country much better than what it is? Is it that women are clamoring to be given just for the sake of?
Now, women, just like men, are Nigerians, so they should be given equal opportunity to serve their country. So I don't see why people should be complain or something like that about having women or so many women in positions, either politically or in appointments. So since they are Nigerians, I think they deserve to be treated like men.
So, sir, what advice do you have for the women how they who intend to aspire for political positions?
Now they should work hard so that they succeed like their male's counterpart. Now the problem with women, they don't support themselves. Now there are more women in Nigeria than men, but when a man and a woman vie for a post, you'll see she will not succeed. The male will beat her. Yeah. So it's the fault of the women, not the people of Nigeria. It's their own fault. They should wake up from their slumber and support themselves so that they achieve whatever they want to achieve.
Thank you very much, sir. So, sir, going into the 2020 elections, as it's been said, there are few women who have indicated interest in contesting for different political positions and all of that. What do you think they could do at this point to boost their chances of getting victory in the forthcoming election?
Well, I do not think it's necessarily correct to say that few women show their intentions. Perhaps many more women than those who are standing as candidates now actually showed interest. The problem is that the political parties did not put into place affirmative principles or policies, which would have meant that a certain percentage of the candidates would be women. I feel that is the major, problem. So the fact that we have few women contesting does not necessarily mean that we didn't have many more women showing intention or interest, to contest. But be that as it may, the reality now is that we have female candidates, even though fewer, in number. And in terms of what can be done, I feel that we need to encourage both men and women to look at these candidates based on merit, to understand that they have a very strong potential to bring something on the table. But we look at 2019 to the present time, we look at some of the states of assembly where we have women, and we discover that many of these women are heading important committees. They've done a lot to empower people. They've done a lot in the area of education. They've done a lot in the area of health, which means that if there are more, we are likely to feel the impact of governance more. So that should be the message that we need, to put forward. That in electing our representatives in the coming period, let us look in that gender direction. Let us put on what I call our gender lenses to know that politics is not supposed to be the exclusive preserve of men. But for that to happen, the responsibility lies on many heads. It lies on the head of the candidates themselves, making themselves available, being readily accessible to the media so that the media could project them, being able to even capture their own issues, their own stories, because journalists will not be everywhere. Then for the media, we need to do more. We need to understand that the more we are able to present them to the public, the more the public will be in a position to to assess them, because one major function we perform during the election period is to provide information that would enable people to have informed opinion. And how can people have informed opinion about female candidates if they don't see them, if they don't hear them? I would even go to the extent of saying, why can't we even have debates that feature these female candidates exclusively across the parties? So on radio, on television, in our newspapers, on the online media, let us agree that issues of women should regularly make headline news, should regularly hit our front page, should be in our major news bulletins. Almost all television stations have one political program or the other. There should be a policy that all these programs would have a kind of balance in terms of bringing male candidates and female candidates. So if we do all this, there is a stronger, or there will be a better chance for more women to be elected in 2023.
Thank you. Yes. So, going to the women themselves, what advice do you have for women out there who are not really convinced that they could stand a chance?
Well, my advice is that they should be discouraged. They should be hopeful. They should believe that they can make it. If other women before now made it, then they too, can make it. They need to have that self-confidence. They need to stop dodging the media. They need to confront the media. Once you step into the political arena, you are stepping into an arena where you face a whole lot of challenges. People will criticize you. People will write negative things. But you need to stand firm. You need to stand tall. As a matter of fact, it is that level of confidence that may even convince some people to say, look, I like the courage of this woman. I like the fact that against all odds, she's standing her ground, she's focusing on issues, and they need to also be clear about what they want to do. People will not vote for you simply because you're a woman. That would be like voting out of sympathy. But what would you do that would be different? And what advantage you bring in as a woman? They need to do more of that in the hope that that would change the orientation of the electorate towards embracing the need to have more women elected.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. My name is Lanre Arogundade. I'm the Executive Director of International Press Center, Lagos, Nigeria.